Good, y'all. What's up, fam? I got it live and direct on a wonderful Saturday evening. I know I'm streaming really fucking late today. Was just a bit busy taking care of business, but you know what I'm saying? I had to get a stream in for y'all. You know what I'm saying? We got to stream every day. You know what I'm saying? Got to make sure I got to cook for the fam every day, man. Got to do what I can for the fam, man. Got to cook, got to drop the lessons. Niggas got to understand shit. So I got to be here all the fucking time. Anyway, we continue with the Tate and PBD interview. We're at 158 minutes in. So we basically have like an hour and 30 minutes to still get through all this shit. And it just goes to show how much shit I could pull out of this one interview. And that's why I just like love reacting to interviews, because there's just so many things that I can remember. I'm like, oh yeah, that's important for men to understand. That's important for men to understand. That's really important for me to understand. Let me talk about this shit. So that's why I like fucking with this shit a lot. Anyway, let's just jump right into it per usual.
Can I afford this kid? Can I put this kid through private school? Do I have a college fund? Is it responsible to have a kid now? If you just grab third worlders from anywhere, doesn't matter if they're black, brown, white, wherever, if you get third.
Children are the greatest, man. Having kids is the best thing you can honestly do ever. I think one of the things that I hate the most, more than anything, is when a woman says that I don't want to have children. I'm like, okay, so why do you exist? Like, why are you doing things then? Because let's be real. Like, okay, if a woman's not having a child, she's effectively useless to society. Because let's be real, she's not going to be the next Albert Einstein. She's not out here creating some massive new innovation. She's not out here building the roads or anything like of that nature. She's not doing any blue collar work more than usual. So whatever she could possibly be doing other than having children is effectively useless. Because generally speaking, we could take all women out of the workforce tomorrow and we would still be fine. Understand? So this basically goes to show that they're not really doing that much. Like, we don't actually need them to be working. We need them to be having children. You know what I'm saying? That's why it annoys me when women are like, I don't want to have kids. I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? What are you going to be doing then? You're just going to work some random social work job till you're 60 and then just die? It's like, why did you even exist? Compared to if she didn't start working and didn't prioritize her career, which is unfortunate that a lot of women have to do that, because it is very hard, to support a family off one income nowadays because of feminism, because it doubled the workforce. But the point is, it would have been later if at like 22, 21, you had already gotten married and you could have pumped out 3, 4, 5, 6 kids. And then you would have contributed to the world, because only women can have children. We can't have kids. But what we can do is build the world. What we can do is invent new things, that further pushes civilization forward. You know what I'm saying? We can do something that is very integral to our survival. And what is also integral to our survival as human beings is women having babies. So when a woman is like, I don't want to have kids, I'm like, the fuck are you doing then? Because anything else you could be doing is nothing compared to you having a child. Like, that is the most important thing. Because like I already said, you're not going to be out here being Albert Einstein. You're not going to find a new element or build something crazy or send us to Mars, for example. Like, you're not going to do any of these things that are crucial. You're not going to build the roads. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to keep the sewage. You're not going to keep us having clean water and shit, like integral shit to our survival. You're not going to do those things. So if you're not having kids, you're basically useless as a woman. Like, you need to have children. Everything else you could possibly be doing is honestly a waste of time. So why women working and being in the workforce is so stupid, because it's like they're not even doing something that's necessary to our survival, whereas kids are necessary to our survival as humans. Like, if more people aren't having babies, we'll eventually go extinct. Understand? Anyway, this is also why the birth rate is dropping so much, and because women are like, oh, let me just not have kids for no fucking reason to go work some dumbass job that you can be easily replaced in. It's like, the fuck?
Worlders from anywhere, they just have kids. So when you let them into a country, you have to be prepared for them to have more children than the native population. It would be responsible for a leader of any nation to,
which is why the birth rate is dropping. I'm not the birth rate. This is also talking or tagging on what I was saying last stream, or what he was even saying last stream, about how like white people are basically going extinct. Like, we looked at the data, bro. Like, because exactly, like, migrants will come into the country, have more children than the native people. You know what I'm saying? Especially because the native people's women, speaking specifically to America, like, white women are like, oh, no, let's just let all the immigrants in. It doesn't matter, blah, 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 whatever, while they have no babies. It's like useless.
Down and say, no matter how many of them we let in, they will outbreed the natives. Mm-hmm. This is a math calculation that should be done if you're a responsible leader for a country. Am I right? but they refuse to do it. They
The
refuse
math, I mean, the math already online, to be real. So
to even acknowledge it. So you let in 10% of third worlders, it's 10% for a while, but it's not for long. This is a decision you have to make. It's something you have to consider. It's something Europe refuses to even
exponentially
address.
grows.
And they've let in a lot more than 10%, and more arrive every day. I think 1,200 people arrived yesterday on boats in England. I saw on Twitter. So
Wow.
it's nonstop. The only possible end result is the absolute replacement of the native population, which then begs the question, is a country a place on a map and a name, or is a country the people who live in it?
It's always the people. The people create the environment, bro. The people create the environment. This is something I've started to deeply understand more and more and more as I've grown up. I'm like, yo, like people always create the circumstances. The mentality of the people are always what are going to create the circumstances. Like, think about it like this. You know, like when you're on a super high level sports team for whatever sports you played, you know what I'm saying? Like, just think about like when you're a super high level sports team. Was it really just like all the players were good? Maybe in one situation it was like that. But was it really that the coach was creating a culture that made all the players perform very well? And usually, more often than not, when it comes to a high performing team, it's because the culture of said team is very good. They have a winning mentality, the way that they operate, how hard they train, how they approach training, how they approach certain tactics and strategies that they employ for the team. For example, you know what I'm saying? Like the culture of the team will determines what goes on, and who creates culture. The people, right? The people are the ones who create the culture, and culture just basically means like the rules and regulations of how people behave in an area. That's just what culture is. You know what I'm saying? So a nation in itself is not just a place on the map. A flag is just not something that blows in the wind that just shows who you are, what you represent. No, it's like this is a culture. You can only put up a US, the only people who can truly put up a US flag are the people who are actually Americans, who operate as Americans operate, you know, who prioritize freedom above all, or the right to bear arms, for example, the Constitution. You know what I'm saying? Like people who are willing to fight and die for that are Americans, because the Constitution is the culture, it's the behavior. Those are the rules and regulations that Americans live by. So you can't just remove everybody who's American and put a bunch of different new people and then expect it to still be America. No, as I was mentioning in the stream yesterday, you bring in a bunch of people who come from their own culture, meaning they have their own rules and regulations and how what is normal, a normal way for them to behave looks like. They come and have their own way of doing things. They come here and they start doing their own shit now, right? This is why I was already saying. This is why like a bunch of migrants will come to the U.S. and they'll change how Americans should operate. They'll say, "Oh no, this is not how America should be. America's like this." I'm like, "Nigga, you can't come here and then start saying how America should be. That's literally, it makes no sense. You're not American. You just came here." So basically, what you're trying to do is make this place not America anymore when you disagree with how Americans want things to be. Understand? You can't. The people, countries are never just a dot on the map. It's not just a flag. It's a representation of how people behave. That's the country. America represents a way of behaving. Americans represent a way of behaving. It's not just like, oh, yeah, anybody can be American. No, it's a way of culture that you're willing to abide by. So when migrants come in, they're not willing to abide by it, so they want to change it, which is bad because that's what makes the place less and less American. And this is what we've also been seeing with the fall of America so far. America is becoming less and less America and more Mexico, for example. You know, it's like it fucks things up. So it's not a good situation, and a lot more guys should be mad about it, man. The UK definitely looking like the UK definitely looking like they got it worse. So I ain't gonna lie to you.
Because I would argue that if you replace all the British people with people from somewhere else, it doesn't become Britain anymore. If you took all the Norwegians out of Norway,
It literally can't. It can't. It can't be. It can't be.
and replace them with Indians, would it be Norway?
Sure.
I don't think it would be.
No, that's the point. It changed. So, by the way, but Rob, pull up this chart that shows the net migration for UK from 2019 to 2022. Watch this. So, you see the orange color is non-EU coming in.
Holy shit, bro! It was like, yeah, and this was during like COVID, bro. Them niggas just came up in that motherfucker, bro. They just said, "Fuck it, man. We going to the UK, nigga." This is wild, bro. And then you know what's even crazier? Look at like a bunch of people who are EU natives. They're leaving here. They're like, bro, they're leaving. While it's like this is like everyone who is actually English is going somewhere else to be English, and everyone who isn't English is going to the UK to completely change it. See what I'm saying? Like crazy stuff, bro.
The green color at the top is
Treason.
EU coming in.
Treason.
Watch this stat. You see the non-EU people coming in.
This is wild, though.
Great. EU goes up, and then look what happens 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. The amount of people coming in every year from non-EU. So they're letting anybody else come in. Now,
And it's just like this. It's because it's like all these people saw the writing on the wall. Like all these Englishmen, they saw the writing on the wall. They're like, oh, fuck. This is not England anymore, bro. This is not the UK is not going to be the UK anymore, bro. So they're like, nah, we got to fucking dip. And these are only the people that actually have the finances to dip. You know, because obviously if you don't have the finances to just leave your country and go live somewhere else because your country's not looking like your country anymore, you know, you're not going to be able to leave. So this is why there's probably a lot more Englishmen that would want to leave, but they don't have the finances to do it. This is still crazy when you think about it, bro.
have you ever seen Dominik Tarczynski from Poland?
Yes.
He is being interviewed and he's being asked about why Poland has the lowest rape, lowest crime, lowest unemployment. And here's his answer, Rob. Can you play this clip?
How many refugees?
No migrants. That's why. Like, keep it a stack, bro. No other racists. That's why.
Has Poland taken?
Not one.
0.
And you're
Them
proud?
niggas let this say they're proud. Hell yeah, I'm proud, nigga. Nobody there's no crime.
Of that?
If you are asking me, if you're asking me about Muslims illegal immigration, none, not even one will come to Poland.
Real
not
ass-
even one
real
if
ass
it's illegal.
niggas.
We took over 2 million Ukrainians who are working, who are peaceful.
These are clearly people who actually love their country. You see what I'm saying? Like this is how people behave when they actually like things. They're like, hey, this is a potentially bad thing to something I like. I don't want any part of that. There's no debates about it. Just like in yesterday's stream, that's what I'm talking about. If you love something, you have to hate something. You know what I'm saying? If you love something, you're going to hate to see something bad happen to it. The Polish people love their country and they don't want anyone who could potentially ruin that shit. So they're like, fuck no, I don't want anybody in this motherfucker. Rightfully so. That's how real niggas move. Like, let's keep it real.
In Poland, we will not receive even one Muslim because this is what we promised.
But I asked
This
not
hell
about
yeah.
illegal
failed.
immigrants. I asked about refugees. And Jean-Claude Juncker, the Commission President, says that you're racist. You sound proud of the fact that you haven't taken
Hell yeah. Like, I'm so tired of like niggas, especially liberals, bro, trying to insinuate that just because you don't want to associate with people who are going to come and do whatever they want to you, apparently you hate people. Like nothing. We have to get to a point where we realize that everybody's being judged on their behavior and never their race anymore. The days of niggas being judged by their race is gone. Nobody's being judged by their race anymore. Like I'm gonna keep it an absolute stack. No one is being judged by their race anymore. I'm gonna be honest. Everyone is being judged off behavior. It's not about racism. Oh, I don't like this person. No. People have different ways that they want to behave. If you are living somewhere and you don't like the behaviors of someone and they try to come and live with you, you're gonna say fuck off. Because you don't want to have to be battling in your own country with niggas that want to do different shit. I'm like, just go do it somewhere else. We're not trying to attack you. We're not trying to hurt you. We don't hate you. Just go do that shit over there. But these dumbass liberals will always try to insinuate, oh, no, you just hate these people. I'm like, nigga, it has nothing to do with that. I just don't like the behavior. And it's clear. These niggas, there's no rapes, there's no violent crimes, there's no anything. So what does this show? They're like, hey, I don't want these people in because when they come, they create rapes, violent crimes, this, that, and the third. Nobody fucks with that shit, bro. Like, let's just really use common sense, y'all. I'm saying all this because I want you guys to use common sense when you're analyzing and seeing situations. Just really look at the situation. People aren't so. People don't look at situations so simply like that. It's just like, oh, I just hate this person because of their skin. It's like, let's be real. Maybe when you were 5, you did that. Let's be honest. But when you reach any adolescent age, you're looking at people in a way more complex manner. Let's be honest. When you like, unless somebody drills into your mind day in, day out, hate this person just because of skin complexion. If you've grown up in any Western society, especially in the last 50 years, like, you do not look at anyone just based off skin. You associate skin with certain behaviors, though, but you don't just be like, I don't like this person because of their skin. It's always, this person with this skin color is behaving this way, so now I don't like them by association. We all do it. It's just pattern recognition. We recognize patterns. We notice patterns. They're like, hey, man, whenever I see black people, they're always doing some fuck shit. They're always associated with crime. Whenever I see somebody get arrested, they tend to be black. So I'm like, black people must be violent. Natural cognition there. But liberals, their brains are literally off. They're literally mentally ill. So for them, it's like they can't even process something like that. They can't even notice patterns. They've turned off their ability to do that. Their brains don't work properly. So
refugees.
Of course, because this is what our people expecting from our government. That's number one. This is why our government was elected. But this is why Poland is so safe. This is the reason why we had not even one terrorist attack. Look at the streets in Poland, and we can be called.
And that's what I'm saying. The liberals are so mentally ill, they will just completely ignore the reality of the situation. You show them the numbers, you show them the stats. We're okay by not doing this thing, and they'll still say you're racist. It's like, you know what I'm saying? You don't win with these niggas. They're just dumb.
Populists, nationalists, racists. I don't care. I care about my family and about my country.
Rob, you can
see what I'm saying? When people actually care about people, they don't even care that they're hated. Bro, if I care about people and I love someone and somebody tries to do something bad to someone, I'm not going to let somebody gaslight me into saying I'm a hateful individual. I'll say, fuck yeah, I'm a hateful individual. Or gaslight me into feeling bad for being hateful. I'm like, yeah, I fucking hate people who try to hurt people I like. Like, and I don't give a fuck if you don't care about that. Like, I don't care. But a lot of men, their masculinity has completely been stripped from them to the point that you can basically convince a lot of young men. Things are obviously changing a lot more now, but a lot of men have been convinced to just be okay with everything. Even if obvious bad shit is being done to you, it's just like, oh, it's fine, just take it, whatever. This is obviously because of the feminization of men, of course. It's just like, you basically have to be okay with people doing evil shit to you. A woman divorces you for all your shit, even though you weren't doing anything wrong. Oh, well, it's your fault still. You see what I'm saying? Shit like that. Obviously, we went from like immigration to intergender dynamics there, but like, that's what's going on. You know? So, but I'm looking forward to the future for sure, man. There's just going to be a lot more men that are not with the bullshit anymore. You know? And I'm definitely going in and out of my way to be one of the men that are a big beacon of that for sure. So
let's go for it.
Islam is not an excuse to break border laws. I don't know why some Muslims seem to believe it is. That's why Islam has such a terrible name. You can't say I'm a Muslim, so let me in. I don't have to obey border laws. I don't think that Islam is an excuse to disobey the laws of a country. I don't think it's an excuse to disobey border laws, because it's not an excuse to disobey the border laws in Dubai or Qatar or Bahrain or all these other Islamic nations.
See what I keep talking with the feminization of men. It's just like all these religions, you know, whether it be Islam, Christianity, Judaism, like, they've been eroded by weakness, by weak men. You know what I'm saying? Like, no men within the religion are commending other men that are doing bad things or representing the religion in a bad light. This is kind of how I see the black community in a way too. It's like, black people will do dumb shit, and instead of other black people being like, what the fuck, they'll be like, oh, nah, he black. It don't matter what he do. I'm just going to justify all his behavior. You know, it's just like that kind of shit. That kind of shit to me is just like, well, I guess it could be a mix of both feminization of men being weaker and not really laying down the laws of what it takes to represent the religion properly, and a mix of just tribalism from like from the black community side. That's more of a tribalistic thing, but like from the religions generally speaking, to me that's more of like feminization of men type thing. It's like, okay, everything is okay. If you're in our religion and you're a part of our religion, you're allowed to do whatever you want. We're not going to lay down the law. Do whatever you want to do. I think that's stupid. I think most masculine men don't want to be like that. They're not willing to just let everything just be whatever, and there's no rules or regulations I have to follow. You know, men are always having to be more than willing to commend anyone that's not willing to follow the rules, especially when you're representing a religion. Let's be honest. You know.
You think you can walk up to the border of an Islamic nation and say, well, I'm Muslim, so just let me in, I ain't got a passport? I don't think so. I would argue that some of the strictest border controls ever are in that region, which is why they have such a problem trying to relocate refugees and these kind of things. So it's really insane that the white Christian liberal.
It's just like what you're really seeing is just more like, and this actually I would say connected to what I was just talking about. It's more like you will see the worst representatives of a religion invading all these Western countries. And it gives the whole religion a bad name, you know? In comparison, where you go to the Middle East, a lot of this shit, like, them niggas not playing about all this shit. They're not going to just let your dumb ass in just because you want to come in or whatever. They understand they have to protect their borders, no matter what, to ensure that the country remains safe. That's just what it is. A lot of these Western countries, unfortunately, don't abide by that anymore. Let anybody in. It doesn't matter. We don't have to check. It's okay. They're just refugees. They're all refugees. Nigga, I don't care if you're a refugee, if you want to come here and destroy everything. That's not helpful to you or anyone else anyway. You might as well just stay the fuck out and just live through your own self-destruction. I don't care, bro. Come on now. It's even funnier that these niggas will be refugees and will still wave the flag of the country that they were a refugee from. It's like, the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, you come here and you want to impose your will as if you're the best representative of this country that's destroyed, rather than being in your country and fixing your own country because you claim to love it. You know what I'm saying? Stupid.
Will argue that Muslim refugees have an instant pass to their Christian countries when they don't have an instant pass to Islamic countries. It doesn't matter what their religion is. Countries need a border. And my Islamic faith, I don't feel, counteracts my rationality in understanding that countries need a border. In fact, if you don't have a border, you don't even have a country. It's the prerequisite to a country.
You can't.
If you can't draw a border of that country, it doesn't exist. So Europe is currently imploding.
And if you don't fight to defend said border, it 100% doesn't exist.
And when I say imploding, I mean imploding in basically every single metric. Crime's going up, wages are going down, energy prices are through the moon, manufacturing's going down. It's imploding. Why is it imploding? Well, it's imploding because
the UK doesn't even really create nothing for real, though. Anyway,
it's being run by psychopaths. It's either being run by psychopaths or extremely ignorant individuals who are intent on only finding money to send to Ukraine for a losing war on repeat and shutting up anyone who wants to tell the truth about the things that are happening there. And then you have this sectarianism. You have all of this gender ideology and this identity politics, which is tearing the fabric of society apart, because when a Muslim will do something disgusting and heinous, like be involved in a grooming gang, instead of being disavowed by other Muslims, all the other Muslims seem to start screaming about Islamophobia. And then you wonder why the average white Christian has a problem with Islam.
It's like stupid. It's just like everybody's just like, it's like weird. It's even mentioning the tribalism thing. It's just like, even tribalism when it comes to religion, it's like, it doesn't matter what somebody in my religion does. I'm not going to commend the behavior because they're a part of my religion. And if you're judging the worst of us, you know, it means you're judging all of us, when you should be the ones to reel in the bullshit. Imagine you have a kid, right? You as a father, you have a kid. Let's say you bring your kid to the park and there's other kids playing there and there's other fathers there. And then your kid starts doing bad shit or some shit that he's not supposed to be doing. You know, he hurts one of the other kids. He punches one of the other kids. And then the fathers are not going to just look at that kid and be annoyed. They're also going to look to you as a father and be like, the fuck? Why did you allow your kid to do, why are you allowing your kid to do this? And imagine you turn around and look like them. I'm like, and let's say you're black, right? You're like, oh, well, you just racist, bro. You just hate my kid because he did that thing. You racist. It's like, what the fuck? Until we grow up again, which I honestly think, like, bro, society is just not growing up anymore. Until we grow up and realize that people are judged based off their behaviors, not their race anymore, but what they do. right? And unfortunately, what they do will directly connect to what they look like. It's just what happens because of we create patterns. We look at patterns. We associate. We make associations, right? That's how we build. That's how we notice patterns and learn. That's what we do as human beings. It's how learning works. So until we grow up and realize that people are their behaviors, not we don't care about what your religion is. We don't care about your color anymore. That time is over. It's what do you do? It's always about what you do. And this is actually even more something that I could talk about more extensively, just from even a representative standpoint, just in general. You see, we are what we do, not what we say or what we think. We are what we do. Who you are is what you do. When someone says, hey, do you know so-and-so? And they're like, who's so-and-so? What do you immediately say? Oh, he does this. He does this. Because we are what we do, not what we think we are. Not who we want other people to see us as. It's what do we do? That's what we're judged based off. Everyone's just seeing people do things. Behavior is the only thing that can actually be seen, which is why we judge people based off their behavior, not what they think or what they feel. We can't see feelings, nigga. We don't know what the fuck's going on in your brain. We don't know. We know what you do, though. We can see what your actions are. And then based off your actions, we might try to figure out what's going on in your head. But your actions are really what define you. And I think this is important, super important for all men to understand, because I think a big issue too, and this is kind of like stretching to the whole idea of dating, like a lot of guys want women to just like them for them. I'm like, nigga, no one's just going to like you for you. They're going to like you for what you do. And especially for us as men, because we have a burden of performance. So because performance is so tied to our value as men, it's even more so that who we are is what we do. Because whether people care about us, are interested in us, and are concerned about the things we say or what we have to say is based off what we have done. Meaning what we have done is what truly defines us. Because if we don't do anything, nobody cares about us. Right? You probably already experiencing this as a man now. Coming up as a young man right now. You're probably already experiencing this. Like, does anybody really check for you? Is anybody really interested in what you say or think? Right? At all? Is anybody really, itching for your time or attention at all? No? Well, why do you think that is? You haven't done that much. You just haven't fucking done anything. Right? So if you want people to care about you, as a man especially, if you want people to care about you, if you want people to be interested in you and what you think and what you know, and if you want people to be interested in who you are, well, you have to do something, because who you are is what you do. Never sit and think to yourself that who you are is how you see yourself or how you expect the world to see you. Fuck no. That's super far from the reality. It's ridiculous. And as I just explained in the example I just gave you, you already know that that's the case. The evidence is already there. So focus more on doing, because your doing will represent who you actually are. That's just something just so important. Stop being, people need to just care about me for me. Fuck no. You are what you do. As men, we all have a burden of performance. And if we don't live up to that performance, then we're essentially nobody. So just tattoo that shit on your brain, bro. All right, let's keep going.
I'm the absolute opposite. If I believe, yes, I am a Muslim, yes. But if you're in a grooming gang, I think you deserve the punishment, the full punishment of the law. In fact, I would wish you to get caught in an Islamic country and see what actual punishment is. I think it's disgusting. And I completely understand. Also,
fair, bro.
This is another thing about rationality that people lack, right? No one would describe me as empathetic, even though I would like to think I am, but nobody would describe me as empathetic. But I completely understand, as a white Christian in the UK, why you would feel threatened by Islam. I understand it. And when Muslims go, you don't have any reason to fear us. Well, he's in a grooming gang, you rape kids. Yo, you're racist. Like,
do you see what I'm talking about? Do y'all see what I'm talking about here? It's like the brain of the average human nowadays has been like so eroded to the point that like people can't associate things with behavior anymore. Like they genuinely think that people are so simple that it's just, we hate you because your skin. Bro, if you have existed in the last 50 years, 70 years, your skin color is not how you are judged anymore, bro. People honestly, vividly racist, not vividly, to be aggressively racist, to actually be racist. I'm telling you, you have to be trained since birth to hate someone's skin color. I mean, imagine you're a white kid. Basically, your parents have to every single day your ass wake up, they show you a picture of a black person and they beat you. And they say, this is the person doing this to you. This is the person doing this to you. This is the person doing this to you. This is their skin color. This is why I'm beating you. And they do this for your entire childhood. So as a young adult, naturally, you're going to have an aggressive disgust for black people. Even if there's black people doing good things, you're like, nope, I just hate the skin. You would have to get so reinforced to actually genuinely hate somebody because of their skin or because of what religion they are. You would have to get aggressively reinforced. But I'm telling you, the average nigga walking around, he can't be racist. He can only, because we're gonna, no matter what happens, even if we completely remove skin color from the equation, we still have to judge people somehow. We're not going to be able to turn our brains off and look at people objectively clearly. That's too much information. We can't look at people and individuals like that. We have to group people to understand things. So we're at that point where we are judging people based off behavior, but there's people that are so fucking slow that they really think it's based off skin still. It's not. That has ended, bro. The amount of people who genuinely hate somebody because of their skin or their religion, it's a super small percentage. Basically non-existent. Not even a factor. Irrelevant statistically. Nowadays, it's really just how do you behave for everyone. It's just what it is now. It's just so stupid how childish humanity is at this point. You can see somebody do something objectively bad and be like, the fuck, and someone will just call you racist. Because people are way more concerned with what color was he than what did he do. We in the end times, y'all. Crazy.
How can you not understand the concerns of these people? And why aren't you doing anything to address those concerns? If you're a guest in someone's nation, shouldn't you try and address their concerns? Mm-hmm. You know, when BLM was big, I was having an argument with a member of my family. I have the black side of the family and the white side of my family. And I was arguing with one of my aunts. And BLM was going crazy and everything was burning down. And she was saying that black people are not scared. They're not safe to get stopped by police. And she bought into the narrative fully. And I said, if that's the case, I would argue that holding large protests and burning things down is going to make it worse. Why don't you hold large rallies saying we're Americans, we respect the law, we're citizens, and promote a culture of obedience to the law amongst Native African Americans?
Because that's not the game. You see what I'm saying? That's not the game. The game truly is tribalism. That's actually what the game is. It's not, whatever. The game is actually tribalism, y'all.
Wouldn't that fix the issue? I'm not saying that it's fair. She said, why should we have to do that? Life's not fair. I'm not saying you should have to do that. I'm saying, wouldn't it fix the issue if you promote obeying law enforcement as opposed to promoting burning everything down?
I also fucking hate when people say shit. Okay, this actually, see, I'm telling you, bro, I just think of shit immediately, bro. Okay. You should never, as a man, ever in your life be saying, I should not have to. Oh my God. The quickest way to ruin your life. Or ensure you live a life of extreme scarcity and irrelevance. To say, I shouldn't, nigga, you have to. You always have to do things. I shouldn't have to eat food to survive. Okay, stop eating. And then die. I shouldn't have to drink water to survive. Okay, stop drinking. And die. I shouldn't have to sleep at all. I should be able to stay awake forever. All right, don't sleep. Go crazy and die. Life is always about you have to. The outcomes that you want in life come from you doing what is required, not what you want to do, not you doing the amount of work you think you should do. It's by doing the amount of work required to achieve anything in your life. It's always about doing what is required at the end of the day. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck at all. You already know this. Because you sat here and complained and think you deserve things and think you shouldn't have to do things and you still don't have shit. So this already should quickly be telling you this behavior of me thinking I deserve things or that I shouldn't have to do things is not getting me the shit that I want, because you still want the shit. So what this means is if you want something, you have to behave in a way that gets you the things. And if life is not fair, right? And there's things that you must do to get outcomes, then you just must do the things, even if you don't want to. Because if you want an outcome, you must do it. There's literally no way around it. You can never outrun a reality. You can never escape reality unless you die. In all the ways that I just described earlier, you don't have to do anything. Nobody's forcing you. But if you claim that you want something, then you have to do it. It's in the same way of understanding that if you're like, for example, you make excuses for why you're not achieving your goals. You're like, I wasn't born in the right place, or my mom's holding me back, or my dad, or I don't have the money for this, or I'm not good at this, or whatever. You give all these excuses. I would sit there and be like, you know what? Okay. All those excuses you just gave, they're right. You're right. They're completely valid. All of that shit is completely valid. Sure, fine. Okay, keep them. But you still want the thing, right? You still want the outcome. You still want the goal. Yeah. Oh, so the truth is, you don't actually have any excuses. You have obstacles. You have things that you must overcome, that you have to overcome, even if you don't want to ensure you still get the thing. Understand? So you have to realize that life is have tos and must and doing what is required. That's the only way you win in this life. Or you could just lose. Say yes to your excuses, be like, I shouldn't have to, or reality should be whatever way, and die and be irrelevant and nobody gives a fuck about you. I'm cool with that. That's no skin off my back, bro. It's only skin off yours. But the real winners and the real niggas are more than willing to just do what they have to and do what is required. Whether they're not worried about, oh, the world should be this way. They're like, no, I'm just going to succeed in the world regardless of how it is. I'm going to accept what I have to do and win. And I want you guys to be winners, which is why I'm telling you this shit. You don't have any excuses, bro. You only have obstacles that you need to overcome to win. So keep that on top of the dome at all times and you'll be a winner no matter what. Okay. We continue to cook.
Disobeying law enforcement. Like, there's this weird idea people have of why should I have to? That's
Stupid.
not fair. Why should Muslims have to reassure? Why should black people have to do that? Yeah, there's lots of why should we? Why should I have to pay for a date? That's life.
You see what I'm saying about like how I feel like the world is so ridiculously childish nowadays is actually kind of ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, honestly, step back and really think about this shit. Like, isn't this kind of stuff that children say? Like when you were like 4 or 5 and your mom said, you have to get in the shower, you're dirty. And you're like, oh, why do I have to get in the shower? You said that because you're a kid. You don't understand that you need to shower to remain clean so you're not stinky and smelly, right? So that's why you would argue with your mom. Like, I don't want to get in the shower. And she would still force you to shower because she knows you have to shower to stay clean. But you didn't know any better. But the fact that we're having grown adults, especially grown men, especially men who were hitting their 16 through 20s, being like, I shouldn't have to do that. I'm like, nigga, what the fuck? So you have the same cognitive ability at 19, at 20 that you had at 4 when it comes to this I shouldn't have to thing and accepting reality thing. And this is why society's getting so cooked. It's like everyone actually has the same level of intelligence at 19 or at 20 or like their early adulthood that they had when they were 4 or 5 or 6 or 10. I'm like, of course we're fucking cooked. Of course everybody's doing whatever they want. Of course everybody's running around thinking I deserve the world or whatever, or people should just like me for me and other bullshit like that. I'm like, bruh, nobody's thinking about the greater good of anything. It's all about me, and I shouldn't have to and whatever. I'm telling you, y'all, when the nukes start flying, everything's just going to get restarted. That's what's going to happen. Once the nukes start flying, we'll be all right. I'm just waiting, man. The war going to break out. Millions of men are going to die. Everyone's just going to switch up. It's just what it is, man. Weak men create hard times. Hard time creates strong men. Strong men create good times, and the cycle continues, bro. It always just breaks down to that shit, bro. So I'm just waiting for the nukes to start flying, bro. Because we're at a point where like 90% of society is thinking on the same cognitive level as the average 5 or 6 year old. Like, to be honest.
But don't we want Don't we want solutions here? Or are we going to sit down and say, it doesn't matter about the solution. Let's let the problem get worse because we shouldn't have to try. I think that's
this is how children think. You understand? Like this children. This is how children see the world because they're not old enough to recognize reality yet. So the way that they talk and speak is in the way of I shouldn't have to. It's the cognition of a child, bro.
biggest problem with a lot of the things we have in the world today. I would argue that the Muslims inside of the UK, if they had respect for the country they were in, if they had respect for the native population and for Christianity, should be doing a pretty good job, or should be trying to make it clear that they are not a threat. Instead, they walk around and try their very best to scare everyone all the time. And then they wonder.
That's what I'm saying. It's just extreme, extraordinary entitlement. Entitlement is really, in fact, it's actually a perfect word, bro. If I do encapsulate in one word what is leading to the ultimate degradation of the West specifically, and maybe humanity overall, not in all parts, of course, like niggas in Gaza, they can't afford to think about shit like this, but let's just talk about the West specifically, because just where I am, entitlement is the biggest one, both on the men and women side, by the way. It's way worse on the women's side, obviously, but on the men's side too. The amount of men that are like, I shouldn't have to, and the amount of women that are also like, well, pretty much all of them, that are like, I shouldn't have to, is ridiculous. It's like nobody wants to actually do anything productive anymore for the greater good or for a greater purpose. Everyone is like, it's all just about me and what I want, and when I don't get what I want, everybody else should just bend to my rules. It's like we've truly lost the plot, But things are going to bend back, yo. I just like shit is going to bend back, man. Shit is going to bend back. I'm going to make sure shit bends back, bro. Because it needs to.
Why Islamophobia exists. And as a Muslim, I will say that because it's obvious. It's obvious.
It's not hard
when
to
I say
understand.
that, they turn on me and they attack me. But it doesn't matter what they say. It matters what God says.
Tate,
it's just the entitlement, bro. That's what it is, bro.
Tate, just curious. You probably.
It's weird, but what's something actually crazier that I'll actually say is that in today's day and age, the heroes are always going to be depicted as the villains in today's society. Going back to the example that I gave about like your mom telling you to get in the shower when you were like 4 or 3, and you're like, why shouldn't I have to? And your mom still forces you to get in the shower. At that point in time, you see your mom as a villain, right? You'd see your mom as a villain for putting you in the shower, even though you didn't want to go in, and you're in the shower in the water, you're sitting there pouting and mad and like, fuck, man, why did my mom do that? But obviously, as you grew up, you realize, oh my God, my mom did an absolute amazing thing for me, which is almost like, to me, generally speaking, publicly, if you're hated by most people publicly today in the modern world, that's a good thing. You're doing the right thing. I think if you're not hated by a lot of people with the current state of the West and modern society, it means that you're not doing enough good for it, or you're not willing to do enough good for it. Because as I just listed, all the good people have been villainized or seen as villains or seen as evil people or seen as bad people, because they're the only ones that actually lack entitlement. They're the only ones that are actually seeing the situation for what it is, actually see the reality of the situation, and are trying to do things to change it. But obviously, everyone who's entitled, the babies, the children, are going to hate the parent who forces the child to do the right thing, even though he doesn't want to. Because in the end, the parent knows that the child is going to thank the parent for what they have done, because the parent sees more and understands more than the child does, So it's like, even for me right now, I just feel like a parent. I just want to whoop everybody, bro. Like, everybody need a whooping. Everybody need a fucking whooping. Nobody getting whooped no more. The badass kids running around, badass kid adults running around. Nobody getting whooped. So people need to get whooped. We need more niggas that are willing to play the role of the villain nowadays. And once again, I feel like if a lot of people don't hate you nowadays, you're probably not doing the right thing. That's just where we are. Because a lot of us would like to think that with heroes, they're always beloved and whatever. But realistically, in reality right now, nah, you got to play the villain role first. But later, you'll be seen as a hero. But not at first. The smart ones will realize, but yeah.
Probably one of the few people in the world qualified to do this, because it's not a big number. If you look at how many people in the U.S. convert, Rob, can you go say how many people convert from Christian to Muslim in America? It's not a big number. And if you look at how many women left, more women than men, I think the number is such.
And I honestly only think that for a lot of maybe Christians that have went from Christianity to Islam, and one of my cousins did this, it's really just because of the lack of masculinity in Christianity nowadays. Like the fact that you can see a trans flag or a gay flag in the front of the church shows the innate lack of masculinity Christianity has nowadays, especially in the United States. So for that reason, a lot of masculine men are looking and are like, bro, this is not a serious religion. Whereas like Islam, they're way more aggressive about the shit that they do. They're way more conservative about the shit that they do, you know, especially in their approaches to women, of course, you know, and just the religion overall. You can't even be critical of the Quran. You can't even be critical of it. So they're way more ruthless in terms of defending the religion. You know, I mean, Tate already explained very well here, like they're more than willing to just cut you off or say fuck you if you're willing to be critical of the behavior of Muslims. So they're a lot more of a serious religion. So a lot of like more masculine men resonate with that. They're like, oh, at least this shit is serious compared to what I was fucking with before, where I can see a fucking trans flag in front of my church. You know what I'm saying? So I understand. I mean, based off what PBD is saying here, it's like it's not a big percentage of change, but like I would, based off what I've seen, if you're going from Christian to Islam, the reason why is because Christianity just doesn't look as serious as it used to be. So
Okay, small. There you go. Roughly 30,000 people a year convert to Islam in U.S. The difference is they have a lot of kids. And
you see how I even said here, most are from a Christian background. That's what I'm saying. It's because it's like Islam is taken a lot more seriously in practice to a degree, at least in terms of its outward appearance, you know.
Big family. So that's their strategy. Majority of that 30,000 are women. But you, as a man, an anomaly, you go from Christian to being a Muslim. So I know what it is to be a Christian. I know what it is to be a Syrian Armenian. I know what it is to be an immigrant. I know what it is to be certain things. And I witness it, right? When you were a Christian, what attacks or goods did you see that you're like, man, I never had that? Because I remember when we spoke when we were in Romania, you said, like, when I was at church, Muslims sent me letters, Christians didn't send me letters. I remember that conversation that happened. Now that
that's even a prime example of like this seriousness, you know, in terms of action. Like Christianity is just talkers, not doers anymore, you know.
For Muslim, what is the biggest difference of treatment, and does it kind of make you sit there and say, man, I understand why the Bible teaches tolerance for certain things?
Yeah, I understand the question.
What is the difference?
I understand the question, but tolerance is it's a double-edged sword.
I agree.
Right? Because it's tolerance that's allowed Christianity and the church to end up mocked universally across the planet and to not defend their lands. And the Christian thing to do is to sit there and allow your life and your race and your country to be destroyed. Because
honestly, this is why a lot of niggas don't fuck with the mainstream conservatives anymore, like the Ben Shapiro's, Charlie Kirk, Matt Walsh, all those niggas, because they're the same niggas that just kind of sit there and talk about everything but don't do anything. Especially because they're owned by Zionists too. That's also another massive problem.
It's the Christian thing to do. So tolerance is a double-edged sword. I was an atheist for a long time, and then I became a Christian. I reverted to Christianity instantly because I believed in God, and I was born in a Christian nation. Then I decided to do some research on the different religions, and I found affinity with Islam. Right. But
there was even a time for me where I was like Christian, then I became atheist. Not because of the masculinity thing. It was more because I was like, do I really believe in this? You know, I was like having that self-discovery in my brain going on. So for a while, I actually wasn't really Christian. Then I kind of got, to make a short story short, like I got to a point where I realized, like, I'm like, well, how am I determining what is right and wrong? I'm like, oh, yeah. So I'm like, I actually believe in God, because when I realized and thought about it, I'm like, I kind of already agree with a lot of God's morality, or what God tells us what is right and what is wrong. I agreed with a lot of the things in the 10 Commandments. So I was like, oh, well, I'll be honest, because one of the biggest things that we lack, you know, especially from the 10 Commandments, is the thou shalt not lie. Like, everyone is lying now. You know, honesty is a very masculine trait in general anyway, but like everybody's a liar. I'm like, you see, it's like basic stuff. Like if everyone was just ridiculously honest, like the world would already be a way better place. I'm like, damn, just off one commandment alone, we'd be cooking. So it's like, yeah. So I kind of went to that space where I was like, first, I'm like, I don't know if I actually really fully believe in this. And I wanted to be somebody who's fully committed to a religion. You know, I didn't want to be one of those half believers. I always hated seeing people claim they're a Christian and they would just sin all the fucking time. It's like, that just made me uncomfortable, you know? So I was like, do I really believe in this shit? So I went to a period where I was kind of atheist. I'm like, okay, I kind of see the world my own way. then I realized like, okay, but how am I determining what is right and wrong? Am I basically choosing what is right and wrong? I'm like, well, think about it. How do you build a society off some shit like this? How do you build a society off everyone just deciding what is right and wrong? Impossible. You know, we need something to fall on to decide what is right and wrong, you know, so we can all move as a collective for like the greater good of things. You know, it's not just about you. I wish more people thought that way, but it's just what it is. It's like, it's not just about me. So I was like, okay, you know, I agree with what's in the Bible. I agree with what's in the 10 Commandments, and I trust this stuff because it's true to me. Like, it's just what it is. So I'm like, okay, I still believe in God. So it's like I went from Christian to like atheist to Christian again. So it's funny. I mean, I didn't really study any of the other religions because I wasn't really interested in it as much. I was just more like, I don't know if I really believe in Christianity. Maybe I believe in another religion, but I'm like, it was more like I just didn't even want to fuck with religion altogether. I was like, because in all these different religions, especially the main three, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, you know, there's a God to some degree. And it was like the God thing that I was like, I had an issue with. So then I was just like, nah, no religion. But then I was like, you know what? I already agree with Christian values. You know, it's too much for me to sit here and decide what is right and wrong for everyone. You know, I can't just be like, this is right and wrong for me, and then you can decide whatever you want. Once again, can't build a society off that shit. So I'm like, you know what? No, I trust the 10 Commandments. I trust what is being said in the Bible, you know. So I was like, okay, boom, I'm a Christian again. So that's my little religious story. It ended up being, it was supposed to be a short story made shorter, but it ended up being longer. But that's just, yeah, it's a situation.
With Islam is between me and God. Me trying to please every Muslim on the planet is never going to happen. Because I'm never going to be able to make them happy.
Of course.
There's always some of them who are unhappy with me. And there is a contingent of Muslims who like what I say, and there's some that don't like what I say. And that's fine. I'm not here to try and appease them. I'm here to be honest to myself and be honest to my religion and honest to my faith, and also be a rational actor and a rational human. And a lot of my views Muslims don't agree with because they throw their rationality away in light of group identity politics. And lots of people do this. It's not just a religious thing. We just talked about how black people did it with George Floyd and BLM. It's identity politics. It's
just about tribalism for a lot of people. And it's funny because that's just rationale in itself right there that he just uses. Like, he can objectively see that it's not really about the religion. It's more about the identity. It's like, you're more willing to forgive somebody for their bad behavior or shield them from criticism if they're a part of your tribe, whether it be religion or race. You know, like, we're just seeing that shit. And it's like, it's unfortunate because on a societal scale, this is horrible because now people can justify bad things, or now people who do bad things and people who are evil can use their own tribe to justify their behavior. And it's just like, it's just what's going to cause infinite turmoil. This is why identity politics is so fucking stupid. It's just so stupid, bro. It just literally hurts everybody because it's like, it becomes a battle of tribes now. And it's just an infinite battle because you're just going to always choose your kin. It's just what happens.
Think rationally. They don't think sensibly. I try and prevent that happening. So a lot of the problems in the UK, yes, you can attribute some of them to Islam, but truthfully, you could attribute most of them to just simply third world individuals arriving of all different, whether they're pagan, it doesn't matter, voodoo.
Last question.
You know, and then also the Englishmen not being able to build strong groups together, strong movements together, because nigga, once again, if you can't be critical of anything, you know, you can't bring groups together. As he even said, I completely agree with that shit. Like, if you can't bring a group together, you can't be. It's hard to create a mass movement because you can't be critical of anyone, so you can't find people who agree with you. So
it doesn't matter. And third world individuals arriving and them having no plan to integrate these people into society. That's the problem with Europe as a whole.
Tate, would you, if one day in the future you're living, you're evolving, you're a guy that's evolving, you got core convictions, but you're evolving. One day gets to a point where you're like, this is not change. It's going to get worse and worse and worse, nastier on you. Do you ever fear, if you ever say, you know what, I'm going to be a Christian again, do you ever fear what would happen to you if you ever left the religion of Islam?
No, I don't. But I'm sure that would be a problem for them. I mean, I'm sure. I
mean, anyway, I mean, if you leave any religion, I mean, there'd be a massive problem. Obviously, for him, it's a completely different context because of like how famous he is. But like, I just mean, generally speaking, if you were a Christian and then you went to Muslim, like, people who were Christian, especially staunch Christians, would be like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? It's the tribalism again. That's a word I continuously keep using during this stream, bro, because it's just what it is, just tribalism. People aren't thinking objectively and rationally and seeing the bigger picture. It's always about, I got to make sure I do whatever my tribe likes me doing instead of me thinking clearly and rationally.
I can imagine people getting angry if I did that.
You don't fear it if it.
No. If that's how I feel, then that's what I would say.
Adam.
I think you get a pretty worldly perspective. You're half black, half white, half American, half British, somewhat Romanian. However you want to put that.
Jail.
Atheist, Christian, Muslim.
Yeah.
If you say you want to be the president of the UK, prime minister of the UK, what would you do to solve world peace in Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia? I mean, you got to have solutions here. I know you're doing sort of hypothetical scientific method stuff, but what solutions do you have?
Well, I really believe Trump was going to bring peace to the world, and I think he did a pretty good.
Well, I mean, even when it comes to like, it's like weird. The world is strange in terms of how things work. Like, it's less like, okay, a solution and more like mitigating a problem, finding a common ground, because that's just really what it is, especially when it comes to the whole Israel-Palestine situation. And even with Ukraine and Russia, it's the same thing. It's just like, it's a situation that can only really be managed because for Palestine's perspective and from Israel, obviously Israel is the enemy here. I'm going to be bluntly honest. Like, Israel's obviously the ones at fault here, but unfortunately, because we're so controlled by them, it's like they're allowed to continue to do evil. So the only way the situation will be forced to be controlled is if we completely lose the Zionist influence inside our government. Because if we lose that, then now the U.S. will be like, yeah, fuck no, you niggas got to stop this shit. And if it was already like that, then this wouldn't even be happening at the scale that it's happening. And they'd be forced to find a solution because we have the power to enforce said thing. Remember, I said a few streams back about how like violence is the underpinning of literally everything. And it literally is. The fact that you can go to the store and be completely fine and not be scared or worried about somebody attacking you is because force. You can call the police. You can call the police and they would stop somebody from hurting you, for example. You understand that there's force involved. So it's with a lot of these situations, it's never really just, how would you just make everybody peaceful? It's just kind of like you have to have the strength to force people to behave. And when it comes to the Israel-Palestine situation, it's like the only way we can force Israel to behave is if we lose their influence in our government, because then we're like, hey, if you guys don't fucking stop, we're going to do some bad shit to you. So they'll be forced to get along. And when it comes to the Russia situation or the Russia-Ukraine situation, it's the same kind of thing where the only way we can kind of bring world peace here is find a common ground, to me personally, is if we become stronger than Russia from a military standpoint, because then now they'll be forced to be like, okay, let me chill. But because we're way too relative to them in terms of military power, it puts us in a really bad situation when it comes to coming to common ground with the whole situation there. It's like you can't really just say, do this, because we don't have the force to enforce anything, So I would argue that both situations, pretty much the solution is we lose Zionist influence in the U.S. We can definitely fix that conflict. When it comes to the Ukraine and Russia situation, it's like the only way that gets fixed is if we're stronger than Russia from a military aspect. But that's obviously going to take a lot of time and, this, that, and the third. So we'll definitely see. But that's really the only way. So. And even just to say it one more time, because I even want to break it down now in saying it, because that's actually I think it's a good perspective on it personally. So really, when it comes to the Israel-Palestine situation, when it comes to the Ukraine-Russia situation, when it comes to making peace in both these situations, the solution for the Israel-Palestine, we need to lose Zionist influence from our politics, from our politicians, right? We need to remove all the AIPAC money that we take in, all of the just generally, we just need to lose all Israeli influence in our government. Once we lose that in our government, now from a military aspect, we can just force them to behave because we're not controlled by them anymore. So we force them to behave. And now that both of them are now that we force them to behave, we can create a situation for Palestine that is feasible, because obviously they're getting genocided right now. So we could fix that situation. When it comes to the Russia and Ukraine situation, the really only way we can fix that situation is if we become stronger than Russia from a military standpoint. So obviously we would have to make extraordinary military advancements for that situation to end on a very good note that is good for both parties. But as long as we're relative in military power to Russia, it's going to be a constant issue here. And it's just going to be very difficult to find common ground because Russia feels like NATO has been in the wrong for moving weapons so close to their borders, which honestly makes sense. So it's like, it's really a back and forth situation, to be real. So we're going to have to see. But that's kind of how the only way we solve it. Like, U.S. needs to become stronger than Russia militarily for that to fix the Ukraine situation. And then from the Israel-Palestine, we just have to lose Zionist influence in our government, and then we could, fix that issue. So let me see what he says here, though. But that's what I think, personally.
A job in stopping the killing between Israel and Gaza. I'm not saying he has all the solutions. I'm not saying everything he's done is perfect, but he certainly stopped the killing. And that's got to be the first thing you do, right? Things have to be done incrementally.
Yeah, well, he ain't stopped the killing, unfortunately. But yeah.
It's unfair to expect a leader to come in and have a complete full solution to everything head to toe. You have to do things in increments. And increment one is to stop people dying, I would argue. So I think for that reason alone, he's done a good job in Israel and Gaza.
Nah.
For Ukraine and Russia, well, Ukraine doesn't want to stop the fight because Ukraine is being sponsored by Soros and the insanity of Europe now. So Zelensky disrespected our president and our vice president.
There's that too.
Ran to our allies to be treated like a hero, which is completely mind-bending to me. If I was Donald Trump, I would be infuriated. That is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, I went more for a different angle. I'm like, look, man, we just got to be stronger than Russia is the real. But like, obviously, if Ukraine wants to keep killing niggas, that's obviously an issue too. But anyway,
Europe's just done. And the killing is going to continue in a war that Ukraine simply cannot win. So you ask, how do you solve for world peace? That's a very difficult scenario. It's a very difficult question. It depends on each individual war at the time, right?
It is hella fucking loaded, but that's why I just gave a general overall of what that looks like. We just need to be stronger. We need to remove evil people within our government, and we need to be stronger than our enemies. That's really the only way to solve a lot of these issues.
To answer that compendiously for every single conflict on the planet, I'm not sure I can. But if you're constantly trying to solve for peace, I'd like to think it's doable. The reason we have all these conflicts is not because...
And the peace is only found in... You gotta be stronger than your enemies, bro. Why did we get peace with Japan all the way back during World War II? We dropped a massive bomb on two very important cities for them. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Boom. Instantly stopped the fighting because we just killed millions of people. No one has ever seen these types of weapons before. And then what happened? Now everybody wanted to get nukes to ensure their safety. So it's a power game at the end of the day. We have to be stronger than our enemies.
Of the differences between people, it's because the people involved are not looking for peace. They're not looking for it. Nobody's interested in it. Zelensky doesn't want peace. Europe doesn't want peace. That's obvious. So how can you have peace when you have teams that simply don't want it? Mm-hmm. The Russians.
And this is just why, even more to say, like, if you ever want peace in a situation, this is why I talk about again and again and again, becoming as strong as possible as a man, becoming as powerful as possible as a man, because when you have power, you can enact peace on a situation. When you are weak, when you are not strong, evil people can do bad things to you because you're not strong. You can't defend yourself. The only way evil thinks twice is if you have the ability to kill evil. Understand? So you need that ability. You have no choice but to have the ability to be strong to prevent evil from doing bad things. You need to be strong to prevent evil from doing bad things, or evil things are going to continue to happen. You have to be strong. It always comes down to power. It always comes down to strength. That's what I'm saying. Power is everything. Strength is everything. Because it's the only way you can make sure good things stay good. We keep it going, man.
Don't want this war to continue. They prove their point.
So true.
They prove their point and they want peace to come. But when you have one side that's intent on fighting, we look at it in a relationship. You can have a man and a woman. The man can be the best man on earth. He can be the best speaker, the best relationship coach on the planet. If his woman's intent on fighting, she's gonna fight. So you need to have you need to look at each individual.
That's the Japan shit, bro.
Conflict and try and encourage people to seek peace. Unfortunately, this is an unfortunate reality of the world. Sometimes some people only want to seek peace when they have no other choice. And the only way you put them in that position is when you destroy them, which means you have to fight. It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. But I think if anyone can get it done, it's Donald Trump.
Well, you've been very complimentary of Trump. But Trump, since he came into office...
Guys, Trump's a hero. Trump has saved the Western world. I don't think enough people understand.
Because this is one thing, like, for me, I'm kind of indifferent towards Trump personally. But it's just like the main thing that he has done was, I didn't even vote for him, to be honest. Like, I'll probably vote next election, but I didn't vote for him this election. I probably would have voted for him this election, though. Because at least mainly just to, like, prevent wars. Especially with Israel acting crazy, for him to prevent wars, because I'm obviously still in the age range at 24 where I could get drafted to a war. I'm like, nigga, I don't feel like fighting and dying for Israel. Like, nigga, the fuck. So, but more because at least from a social standpoint, he definitely helped us a lot more, you know, with all like pushing back against progressivism, liberalism, and all the other transgender bullshit and nonsense, you know, boys and women's sports and shit like that. Like, that's good. You know, I'd rather get inches forward at least instead of like, okay, we get Kamala in, which would have been a fucking disaster, you know, and just pushed everything further back, you know? So anyway.
And that if he didn't win, it would have been over for the Western world as we know it.
Yeah.
Look at all the garbage we just talked about with my case. We talked about innocent until proven
Yeah,
guilty.
like shit like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of conservative niggas would have been cooked, bro, if Elon didn't help by buying X and shit, bro. Like, bro, shit could have actually been way more ass in hindsight. So at least him winning helped make shit less ass. But there's just a lot more work that still needs to be done. Hence why I'm kind of like indifferent towards Trump, because he's still kind of controlled, he's still controlled by the Zionist lobby and shit like that, which is a huge issue. But at least from a cultural standpoint, things are better.
Being thrown out, democracy being thrown out, all this stuff, that would have been applying to everyone. All of us here would be in jail. Mm-hmm. Every man with half a backbone would be in jail. It would have been toast. There would have been a tranny in every single position of office for no reason. DEI everywhere. Once America fell, Europe's already fallen. It would have been over.
It'd been cooked.
Trump has saved the world as we know it. That is not an exaggeration. That is not hyperbole.
I'm not going. It would have been cooked, bro. It would have been cooked. You know. Obviously, niggas want to keep their standards as high as possible, but it's true though. If he it would have been fucking cooked.
Trump has saved the world. So the reason I am a fan of Trump is not because I agree with every single thing he does, not because I think he's a perfect person, but I can look and say he has saved the world. You know, it's actually amazing how bitter, petty, and stupid most people are.
Yeah.
Elon Musk will put a rocket in space and then catch it. Incredible. And then someone will sit there and go, yeah, but he had a kid and he wasn't married. Can't you just let people be people and respect them for their monumental achievements? And
you know, one thing I'll actually say about this when it comes to people, you know how they'll always say that like hate always comes from those that are below you? Because one thing about a lot of like average people is that when they see people do amazing things, they're always going to find a way to judge it or say it's not that good or be a hater or whatever, even though they can't accomplish it, because it makes them feel better. If I can criticize somebody who's living a way better life than me, that makes me feel better than uplifting them. Because think about it like this. If I'm uplifting somebody who's living a way better life than I am, it makes me feel smaller by comparison. It's like it hurts a lot of niggas' egos. It's like if I'm uplifting somebody who's already living a way better life than me, it's like for me or in somebody's head, they would kind of be like, brah, my life is so shitty in comparison to them. Why am I uplifting them? I should actually make them feel bad. I should make them feel worse because they're living this better life than me. And in order for me to feel better, I need to kind of like take them down a peg. I naturally have to be a hater. It's like envy and jealousy has to come naturally because it's the only way to make yourself feel better by comparison. And that's just kind of why hate will always come from below you. You know what I'm saying? People who are not people who are below you, but people who are above you will always be in a position where they're not going to hate on you. They're not going to complain about you working hard and getting better or whatever because they're above you. They don't care. You know, so this is also why when it comes to haters, and this is actually something I could talk about when it comes to haters. When it comes to haters, think about a hater's main goal. When somebody's hating on you or whatever, is judging you or whatever, a hater's main goal is to distract you from you doing the work you need to do to become more successful. That's the primary goal of a hater. Haters love when you pay attention to them because that means you're doing less of what? Less of the work that is actually making you more successful than them. That's why a hater's whole goal is to get a rise out of you, to annoy you, to get you off your game, because they know if they do that, they have control over you and it makes them feel more powerful by comparison. The best way to fuck up a hater or make a hater feel bad is to just become more successful and completely ignore them. Because when you do that, there's nothing that they can do except for hate. And the fact that they sit there and hate and you don't pay attention to them, it makes them feel incredibly annoyed. It hurts their heart like nothing else. The hate is just basically a cry being like, please pay attention to me. Please pay attention to me because your life is so much better than me. That's why niggas hate, because they want you to pay attention to them. Because if you do, then it means like, oh, look, I'm somebody worth paying attention to. I actually feel good about myself. But if you don't give a fuck, you're just like, I don't care if anybody's hating on me. I don't give a fuck if anybody's treating me any type of way. You're like, the hater can just kind of only sit there and just be like, fuck. Like, I'm hating on this nigga so much, but he's just not paying any attention to me. And they endlessly do this. This is what haters do. They just keep going forever until one day, hopefully, you pay attention to them. So don't give them that benefit. Do not give them that right. You know, you only lose ever by paying attention to a hater. No one has ever said in their life, no man who's reached the pinnacle of anything has ever said, by paying attention to my haters, my life was getting better. By arguing with my haters, my life was getting better. You know, at most of what they would do is just like, okay, my haters are my motivators or some shit like that. But they're never really paying attention to them or really giving a fuck about them at all. So that's how it is, man. And in fact, you know what? That would be a great place to actually end off. This man, Banks? This man Banks said, hello, what's up? I'm literally about to end the stream right now, though. You literally came super late, man. What the fuck, man? It's cool, though, because I'll be live again tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. More than likely, at least. More than likely, I should be. But if not, it might be a few hours after or whatever, because there's a lot of shit going on in my house right now. So, you know, we'll see. But, like, yeah, man. So we'll end off right there. And we'll pick it back up, like I said, more than likely 6 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. You know, we still got about a little bit more than an hour left in this shit. So let me just shout out all the socials real quick. And then I'm going to hop up out of here, my niggas. Hop up out of here. All right. Hold up. Boo, bada boo, bada pow. All right, let me go to Prezi mode. I mean, if you're already watching on YouTube, then you already know what to fucking do, man. Got to sub to the YouTube, got to like up the stream, this, that, and the third to make sure more guys can see this shit, you know what I'm saying? Can jump on the fam train, learn more, become more successful, achieve more shit, and just understand reality in the world to a much deeper level for real. So, you know, so boom. Here to YouTube, check that motherfucker out. Ali Aragundade, join the fam. Let's level all this shit up, man. Just keep cooking super hard, man. Just Ali Aragundade, man. And then, of course, too, man, follow up on the IG too, Ali Aragundade, man. Be dropping like some funny skits on here too. Success oriented, of course, and also some threads that are like basically like X content. I just posted on Instagram, and obviously some nice little short form success tips that could definitely help you become a lot more successful, bro, because that's why you're here. That's why you're watching, bro. And then definitely for show, got 2 viewers on X right now. You know what I'm saying? Follow your boy on X, man. I love going super hard on X. X is the best yapping app in existence ever, bro. So I appreciate you 3 niggas hopping up on the X stream. Make sure you fucking follow your boy, bro. Follow your boy on X, man. You got to show that love. Like up the stream. You know what I'm saying? Fuck with your boy, man. I love cooking on X too. I also post like my Instagram shit on here too as well. So, or my Instagram slash. Oh, I was in fucking solo mode. So you guys didn't even see this shit. Do you guys see this shit now? Oh, this might. Okay, so now you guys see the X. Okay, hold on. Where's the shit? First, I'll show you the YouTube. So, bada bing, bada pow. That's YouTube. Ali Aragundade. Real fast. All right, let me go to X2. Check out your boy on X tight shit. Same thing, Ali Aragundade. All right, and then bada bing, bada pow. And on TikTok, yeah, I post also same thing that I post on my Instagram. I also post on my TikTok as well too. I'm trying to grow this motherfucker a lot or as much as possible because I know a lot of young guys are on here. You know what I'm saying? And I think they would benefit a lot from this type of information. So definitely download TikTok if you don't have that shit. I know the app is mostly gay, but download the app just to follow your boy so we can keep growing the fam, of course. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that's where we're at. And if you do none of the other shit that I just said, at the very bare minimum, like the fucking stream wherever you're at so more guys can see this shit. Just like the fucking stream. You don't want to follow. You don't want to subscribe. You don't fuck with me. Don't give a fuck. Just like up the stream so more guys who do want to fuck with me can see this shit and we can keep cooking and keep growing the fucking fam. So yeah, man. So with that being said, I'm going to catch you boys tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. More than likely. If not, it might be a little bit later. But either way, we're going to cook on stream as we always do. So love you, fam, and deuces.